three brothers rode out. On the night, the wolves stopped singing. They carried no gold, no crowns, only three laws, written in blood, and the silence that follows. When a man realizes his father's last gift was a test he cannot fail, by dawn, one would face the fangs of a nightmare. By dusk, the coils of a serpent, older than stone, but the greatest predator they would meet wore a crown. That is the story of what was lost and what was forged in the losing. Long before the great forest fell to axe and flame, there lived a man, neither lord nor peasant, a humble craftsman of the valley, sharpened by labor, softened by wisdom. He had three sons, not princes, not heirs to gold, but heirs to something older, strength, honor, and a father's final lesson, delivered like a blade to the heart. Their names were Bjorn, eldest and unyielding as winter oak, Finn, second-born, whose hands knew the weight of iron, and Ansel, 16 winters old, whose eyes saw what others missed. One twilight, beneath the guttering flame of their stone cottage, the father called them close. His voice was gravel and ghost. "My sons," he said, "the legacy I leave you is not grain, nor coin, nor title. I have given you 3 gifts already. I made your bodies strong as you. I taught your hands to hold the blade. I taught your hearts to know no fear." He paused. The fire popped. "Now I give you 3 laws. Write them in blood, not ink." He raised a single finger, silhouetted against the flame. "First, swear always truth. A dishonest man courts his own shadow. Second, shun the idle boast. Let your deeds speak thunder. Pride is the cloak cowards wear to hide their trembling. Third, trust not the easy road. The steep path builds the legend." He stepped back, shoulders heavy with a weight his sons could not yet see. "Now go. 3 horses await outside. The black, the dapple gray, and the chestnut. Provisions for 7 days." He looked at each of them, one by one. "Ride until the horizon knows your name, for a man who has not wandered is only half born." Before they could speak their farewells, before they could ask what he meant, or if they would see him again, the old man turned and vanished into the dark of the house, as if the story had already swallowed him whole. The brothers did not sleep. By dawn, they were astride their mounts, riding west, where the sun bleeds, into the wild lands. They rode hard, through birch and bog, following no map, but the wind, until the stars pricked holes in the velvet sky. They halted at a forsaken heath, a place where the grass grew gray, and the stones stood like forgotten sentinels. No shelter, no hearth, only the moaning wind that seemed to carry voices. "We cannot all sleep," Bjorn said, sliding from his saddle. His boots crunched on frozen soil. The wasteland listens. They drew lots for the watch. Bjorn took first blood. The moon climbed high, pale and watchful. Bjorn sat with his blade across his knees, edge drinking the starlight. His brothers curled in their cloaks, breathing deep. The night was a held breath, then the snap of a twig. Bjorn did not flinch. From the tree lean, a shape emerged. Not a wolf, something older, a dire wolf, gray as funeral ash, eyes burning like banked coals. Blood dripped from its flanks. It had feasted already, but hunger is a different beast than need. The beast caught their scent, and Bjorn made a choice. He did not wake his brothers. Instead, he backed away, leading the creature into the open moor. The wolf followed, low and lethal, belly brushing the heather. When the gap closed, when death was close enough to smell, Bjorn struck. Steel met sinew. The beast roared, a sound that shook the roots of the heath, and lunged. Bjorn sidestepped, pivoting, and drove his blade through the creature's skull. Silence returned. Heavy, humid, Bjorn cut a strip from the wolf's pelt, proof, if proof were ever demanded, and bound it beneath his tunic, against his skin. He returned to camp, as if he had merely walked to the stream and back. No words, no boast, but his eyes held a distance they hadn't held before. When his watch ended, Sven took the vigil and saw nothing but owls. Then Ansel, who heard only the wind threading through thorns. At dawn, they rode. The second day carried them to the foot of the Black Mountains. There, sheltered by a single ancient oak that clawed at the sky, bubbled a silver spring. Beside it gaped a cave mouth, dark as a throat. "This is where we make our bed," Sven said. Again, they split the night. Bjorn's watch passed in silence. Then Sven took the hour. The moon hung ripe. Sven paced the spring's edge, his reflection rippling in the dark water. From the cave came a sound. Not wind, not water. Slithering, a Wyrm emerged, serpentine, scaled in obsidian, its breath fouling the air with sulfur. It was the length of 3 horses, the girth of an oak, and its eyes held the malice of a forgotten god. Sven ran, not away, but out, onto the stony shelf, where the mountainside fell away. The Wyrm pursued, belly scraping stone, scales grating, like iron on iron. Sven turned at the cliff's lip as the beast struck. He rolled beneath its jaw and plunged his sword into the soft flesh beneath its throat. Once, twice, the Wyrm thrashed, tail shattering rock, sending stones tumbling into the dark. Then it lay still. Sven sliced a long ribbon of its hide, black and gleaming, and hid it beneath his shirt. He returned to the spring. As dawn cracked the eastern sky, saying nothing, but he paused at the water's edge, staring at his own reflection, as if he didn't recognize the man looking back. 2 beasts had fallen, but the third trial would not be fought with steel. The third day brought them to a windswept tor. Clouds churned overhead, bruised purple and black. No shelter, but a circle of standing stones that had watched centuries pass. They built a fire of pine and wondered if rain would drown it. Bjorn watched first, then Sven. Finally, Ansel, the youngest, sat alone, the fire dying to embers. The world was pitch and whisper. He closed his eyes, trusting his ears. Then a change. The fire had gone out. Ansel climbed the tor. In the valley below, miles distant, a single point of light flickered. A hearth fire. A house. He descended, mounted his chestnut steed, and rode toward it. The house was a croft. Stone walls crumbled by neglect, roof half-caved, but light leaked from the windows. Ansel approached on foot and peered through a crack in the stone. Inside, 20 men huddled around a boiling pot, their faces caught the flamelight, masks of violence, guard, sunken, eyes bulging with greed. Bandits, raiders, they spoke in hisses of a hoard of gold, a king's ransom, waiting in a castle, not 3 leagues distant. Ansel made his decision. He did not ride back to his brothers. He walked to the door and kicked it open. 20 blades, cleared scabbards, the ring of steel, sang in the silence. "My lords," Ansel said, his voice steady as a hunting owl, "I am a humble traveler from the eastern marches. I seek employment, not charity. I can dig tunnels where walls stand thick. I can move silent as smoke through guarded halls. I can sniff secrets from the air itself. Grant me a place at your table, and I will earn my bread." The leader, a hulking brute with a bear's pelt across his shoulders, measured him. with eyes like flint. You reek of honesty. Boy, that is a dangerous perfume. Then let me bathe in your smoke, Ansel replied, and learn your scent. The chief laughed, ugly and loud. Sit, eat, tonight, we hunt. They fed him hard bread and salted pork. Then, as the moon reached its zenith, they armed themselves and rode, a thunder of hooves, toward the royal forests. At the castle wall, they halted. The chief turned to Ansel, eyes narrowed. You claim stealth. Prove it. Scale the wall. Tell us if the guards sleep. Ansel climbed the ivy-choked stone, like a spider. Below, in the garden, a wagon stood, huge wheels, tall sides. The guards at the postern gate slumped against their spears, snoring, drunk on night watch wine. He dropped back down. They dreamed deep. The wagon by the wall. Use it as your ladder. One by one, the bandits scaled the wall, dropping onto the wagon's bed. As the first man landed, Ansel's blade sang. The head rolled into the lavender bushes. The body followed. The next bandit crested the wall, met the same steel. Again, 20 times, Ansel struck, swift and silent, as an owl's dive. 20 corpses fertilized the king's roses. He dragged the last body into the shadows and turned to the castle itself. 3 doors opened onto the great hall. Maidens slept, slumped against the thresholds. Servants, dreaming of home. Ansel slipped past the first. Within, by candlelight, a maiden slept on a bed of carved yew, beautiful as a spring morning. From her finger, Ansel took a golden ring. The second chamber shone with silver. A maiden fairer than the first lay upon a bed of white ash. Ansel took her ring too, slipping it into his pocket. The third room stopped his breath. Gold leaf on the walls, tapestries of unicorns and hunts. Upon a bed of ebony and ivory lay the youngest princess, Rowena, hair like spun starlight, face like a prayer. From her left ear, Ansel lifted a single pearl earring, its luster matching her skin. He ghosted away, over the wall, onto his horse. By the time he reached the tor, the first gray light showed in the east. His brothers slept still, saying nothing. Morning, they broke fast, on dried venison and spring water, then rode. By noon, they reached the capital, a city of spires and cobbles, bells tolling noon. Though the sun hid behind slate clouds, they sought a roadside inn, stabled their horses, and retreated to the common room for ale and rest. Then the bang of a staff on stone. A crier stood in the square, bell in hand. Hear me, people of the realm. Treachery in the king's halls. 20 brigands lie dead in the royal garden, yet the assassin slips like mist. 3 tokens are stolen, the rings of the elder princesses, the earring of the youngest. Whosoever knows the villain, speak. All strangers are to be presented before King Godric immediately. The innkeeper's face drained of color. You are strangers. You must go. They did not argue. They walked. The throne room of Castle Godric was cold stone and iron banners. The king sat, beard braided with silver, eyes like flint. Beside him stood Chancellor Morcant, lean as a cypress, smiling with only his lips. Separate them, the king commanded. Put them in different cells. Let the chancellor wring the truth from them. Nay, my liege, Morcant whispered, stepping close. Direct questions, breed direct lies. Let them eat, let them drink, let them believe, themselves alone. We shall listen, through the walls. So it was done. 3 chambers, 3 feasts, roasted lamb with berry preserve, fresh trencher bread, wine dark as blood. In the first chamber, Bjorn chewed, then froze. This is sheep's flesh, yet, but suckled not by you, but by hound. I taste the dog's milk. In the marrow. In the second, Sven sniffed the preserve. These berries grew on vines fed by iron-rich soil, or perhaps by blood. They carry the scent of the grave. In the third, Ansel broke the bread. Only a master baker could shape this crust. Yet my brother is no baker. He looked up at the stone ceiling. Knowing eyes watched. They have brought us here to question us about the palace dead. We will tell them the truth. But first, let us compare the roads we have traveled. They began to speak, unaware that King Godric and Morkan crouched in the secret passage, hearts hammering, listening. Bjorn told of the dire wolf on the heath. He produced the strip of gray fur. Sven told of the Wyrm at the spring. He unrolled the black scaleskin. Then Ansel spoke. He told of the croft, the 20 bandits, the wagon, the garden, the 3 chambers. He laid the 2 rings and the pearl earring upon the table. The guards slept. Ansel said, the wicked deserved their end. Token, I took them to prove the deed. I meant no theft, only justice. Behind the wall, the king's face twisted in wonder, but Morkan's eyes narrowed with envy. Godric burst into the chamber. Your words have the ring of truth, but these claims of lamb and berry, they puzzle me. He summoned the royal shepherd. Under threat of irons, the man confessed. The ewe had died, and he had suckled the lamb on a wolfhound's teat. To save it, he summoned the royal gardener. The old man fell to his knees. A thief had died in the vineyard last year, buried beneath the roots. The berries had grown strange and dark, so he had made them into preserve rather than serve them raw. He looked at the bread. I placed that loaf myself, Godric murmured, baked by the castle's own master. The brothers had spoken true in all things. Godric's stern face softened, all replacing suspicion. You are not nobles, yet you carry the blood of kings in your courage. Stay. I have 3 daughters and no son. Wed them. Join my house. Bjorn stood, his voice respectful but iron. Your grace, our father is a worker of wood and stone. We are not born to velvet. We are born to the road. And is your father less than I? Godric thundered. He forged you in hardship. I merely inherited my crown. He is the richer man. Do not refuse me. They could not. Not without breaking the law of hospitality. The weddings were held under the full moon. 3 days became 40 days of feasting. Roasted oxen, meat, music that shook the rafters. The brothers dwelt in towers of stone, wearing cloaks of ermine. Ansel, youngest, became the king's favorite, his shadow at chess, his companion in the hunt, their laughter echoing through the halls. Then came the betrayal. One afternoon, by the castle stream, Godric lay upon the grass, drowsing. Ansel sat nearby, sharpening his blade. From the reeds, an adder emerged, black, thick as a man's wrist, venom dripping from its fangs. It struck toward the king's exposed neck. Ansel moved faster than thought. His blade flashed. The serpent became 2 writhing pieces. But Godric woke at the sound of steel. He saw Ansel standing over him, sword bloody, and his heart turned to ice. This is how gratitude ends, Godric thought. He marries my daughter, then seeks my throne. The king strode to the keep, to Morkan's chamber. He spoke of serpents and swords. Morkan, who had burned with jealousy since the brothers' arrival, fanned the flame with honeyed words. My liege, I warned you. They are wanderers, mercenaries, cobras you warmed in your breast. Today the snake in the grass, tomorrow the dagger in the dark. Cast him in irons before he casts you in the grave. Godric, poisoned by suspicion, commanded it. Guards seized Ansel. They threw him into the deepest dungeon. beneath the waterline, where the rats swam, and the air was fungus. Lena, his wife, wept until her voice broke. She knelt before her father. "Release him. I beg you. I will die without him." Godric, softening at his daughter's tears, had Ansel brought up. In chains, the hall was silent. "You tried to murder me," the king accused. "For power. For my crown." Ansel did not plead. He bowed his head. "Your Grace, allow me to tell you a tale. Then judge if I am traitor, or if treachery wears another face." And he spoke. "Once, there was a king who owned a raven, black as midnight, wise as the moon. The king loved the bird above all things, for it spoke in riddles, and kept his loneliness at bay. The raven said, 'Master, I have kin in the southern lands I have not seen in years. Grant me 2 weeks to visit them, 6 days to fly there, 6 to return, 2 to rest.' The king feared, 'If you go, you will not return. Your cage is gilded, but it is still a cage. You will taste freedom, and forget me. I swear by the wind and the oak,' said the raven, 'I shall return.' The king opened the window. The raven flew south, over mountains and seas, to his homeland. He found his parents, his brothers, his sisters. Joy filled his hollow bones. For 2 days, he feasted. Then the time of departure came. His kin pleaded, 'Stay. The king is a tyrant. He keeps you imprisoned for 14 years, then grants you scraps of time. He breaks promises, as men break twigs. Do not return to the gilded cage.' But the raven said, 'A promise is a chain I forged myself. I will not break it.' His mother wept. 'Then take these 3 golden apples. They grant youth eternal. Give them to your king. Perhaps then he will see your worth and set you free.' The raven took the fruit and flew north. 6 days later, he alighted on the king's window, exhausted but whole. 'Master,' he said, 'these apples cure age. Eat and live forever.' The king was delighted. He gave one to his queen. He kept 2 in a silver bowl. But Morkant, his chancellor, whispered poison. 'Test them first, my liege, upon peacocks.' They fed the apples to 2 white peacocks. The birds pecked once, twice, then shuddered. The birds shuddered and died, for Morkant had laced the fruit with nightshade when none looked. 'See,' Morkant said, 'the raven brought you death, not life. He wished you harm, that he might fly free forever.' The king, heartbroken and betrayed, seized the raven. He broke its neck with his bare hands. Weeks passed. The king, in a rage, sentenced an old beggar to death. The sport. He fed the last golden apple to the old man. The beggar's wrinkles smoothed, his hair blackened. He rose a youth of 20 summers. The king fell to his knees. The raven had spoken truth. The chancellor had woven lies, and the king had murdered his only friend. Ansel finished. The hall was silent. 'Your Grace,' Ansel said, 'the snake I killed today was real. Its corpse lies by the stream. Morkant's venom is words. Bring the serpent's body. See if its fangs drip poison, or if my blade dripped treason.' They fetched the adder's remains. The fangs were bared, black with venom. King Godric trembled. His face drained of royalty, leaving only an old man ashamed. 'I beg forgiveness,' he whispered. 'You have it,' Ansel said, 'but we cannot stay. We are sons of the road, not the throne. Grant us leave to depart.' 'You take my daughters from me?' Godric asked, voice cracking. From the doorway, the 3 princesses spoke as one. 'We go where our husbands go. Stone walls without love are prisons. Cottages with love are palaces.' Godric bowed his head. 'Then go, and may the wind be at your backs.' The 3 brothers, Bjorn, Finn, and Ansel, rode out from the city gates with their wives. They did not look back. They returned to their father's valley, to the cottage by the oak wood, and there they built, not a castle, but a hall of timber. In honesty, they worked the land with their hands, hunted with their bows, and slept without guards at their doors. And though they wore no crowns, though no gold weighed down their belts, the bards sang of them for 100 years, the three brothers who chose the steep path and found at its end not gold, but the only treasure, that outlast stone.